So apparently, my opinions and my beliefs as an American man have recently become wrong, according to the public, uh, racist, evil, homophobic, sexist, misogynist. Apparently, I now hold illegal opinions in my own country, despite having, constitutional right to believe whatever I want to believe. Apparently, we now live in a world where I can just get banned from YouTube, or I can get banned from Facebook, which I've already been banned from Facebook, uh, just for having an opinion. I mean, it's gotten so bad that if you have like a strong conviction about something, and then you make a good point, a really good point online, they'll just call you a troll, and then they'll start saying things like, "You're not real. You're just like a Russian bot or whatever." Well, here I am. I'm real. I'm not, a Russian bot, and I have opinions that apparently are wrong now in my own country, in my own land. So I just want to go over a couple of these opinions. I just want to go over a couple of them because I'm having a hard time, even though the news media, CNN, MSNBC, you know, and all the online social media, even though that it like demonizes me constantly, every day, calling me evil Nazi, whatever, white supremacist, whatever that means. Like, I guess when they say white supremacist, they're accusing someone of being what's called an ethno-nationalist, which is someone that believes that a country should be only one race. I don't have that opinion. I don't believe that. Um, let's go over what I do believe. I believe in biological sex, right? And I think it's predetermined by your genetics. Just like my skin color was determined by my genetics, my eye color was determined by my genetics, the color of my beard was determined by genetics, how curly my hair is determined by genetics, whether or not I have a penis, how big that penis is, genetics, all my genetics. And I got that through heredity. I I guess, there's this transhumanist pursuit, right, to modify the human body to become whatever you want to be, right? So that you can look outwardly, how you feel on the inside. But, I mean, that's not something that concerns me. I'm not scared of it or phobic of it. I just, this is America. It's supposed to be to each their own, you know? If you want to live your lifestyle however you want to live, if you want to be however you want to be, who am I to judge you or to say that it's bad for you? That's not for me to say. But as far as on my side of the fence and inside my head and what I think and I believe, I think you are what you are, and we're all born what we are, and we can't escape that. And we all have predetermined days that we're going to live genetically. Like my heart could give out tomorrow, but just because I have a genetic thing that I don't even know about, and yeah, like, my biological mother who birthed me, she had like a massive heart attack at the age of 38. So I'm 38 now. I mean, it's everything's genetic. We're all kind of predetermined to kind of have our path, and we diet and exercise can help you with like longevity and all that stuff. But you are your genes. Your intelligence is set by your genes. You know, I mean, you can nurture intelligence. You can take like a natural chess player and then nurture it up to a grandmaster level. Sure, but you can't just turn like every single human being on planet Earth into a chess grandmaster. Some of them just don't have the capability to do it, and they won't. And I think that the South are like the good and noble guys that were defending their homes, and I think the North were the invaders and the aggressors in the war, and they were the ones that started the whole war, and they were the ones that invaded, and they were the ones that burned Georgia to the ground. They burned Alabama to the ground. They killed women and children. They slaughtered entire families. They destroyed entire homesteads. They burned down entire plantations. Google Sherman's March to the Sea. Now watch my YouTube channel get banned. Sherman's March to the Sea. Just Google it. Read about it. That's what the North did to the South. You see, what the North did after they invaded and they got their ass handed to them for 4 years. That's right. The South won a lot and most of the Civil War and kicked ass for the first 4 years. The problem is their numbers started to run really thin because dads and their sons were leaving their farms and their properties and their homesteads to go and fight and to defend the South. Not slavery, they were defending the South. They were defending Dixie and its independence. Because Alabama, Virginia, Georgia, South Carolina, these places existed before America. This is very important. Alabama existed before America. Virginia existed before America. So when people like Robert E. Lee stood up and was like, wait a minute, wait. Virginia declares themselves sovereign and we don't want your invading armies to come in here. They have a rightful claim to say that because they are older than America. And therefore, their participation in America should be a by-choice thing. But we had a war over this because the North apparently disagrees with that opinion. So they invaded Virginia. They invaded the South. And, yeah. After the war was over, Robert E. Lee wrote in his memoirs that if he had thought that the war was over slavery, he would have resigned his commission and not done it, because from his perspective, he was defending his home property. He was defending his family. He was not fighting for slavery. Now, there were people in the Confederacy that were fighting for slavery. That did happen. But that does not mean that the overall machinery that was the entirety of the Confederacy was hegemonically working united together for slavery. Ho ho, we want slaves. No. These were normal human beings, just like we have normal human beings that live here in America now, which means they would have had divided political opinions. You would have had like the people that supported slavery and thought that was something that they wanted to continue, and then you would have had the other civilians in the Confederacy that wanted slavery abolished. And it is a fact, it's an absolute fact, that the Confederate Constitution outlaws the purchasing of new slaves from the slave trade, because it was considered a stain, a negative thing, and they wanted the South to be this like pure, holy Christian land where debauchery and slavery and you know what people think are low, grimy stuff that you shouldn't do. They wanted to get that out of the Southern Dixie culture. You know, it's all about protecting the Southern belle. The Southern belle is not to be chased. She's supposed to be protected from, shall we say, popular culture influences and negative, what Christian men consider negative things. And that was the perspective of the Southerner during the Civil War. It wasn't. There were people that wanted slavery. There were people that didn't want slavery, but that the actual war was over independence. Whether or not you can tell Uncle Sam to pound sand, and apparently Uncle Sam will beat you into submission until you cannot tell him to pound sand, and Uncle Sam will kill your fathers and your sons. He will send an invading army to burn your homestead to the ground and to burn your crop to the ground. And he will burn Atlanta to the ground. And whatever Uncle Sam needs to do to tread all over you and to make sure that you submit to his federal rule and accept his dollar, he will do it. Washington, D.C. is this powerful machine, this powerful political machine. And they have like this massive military backing them up. So, whatever Congress says, whatever AOC and Nancy Pelosi and all of them say, the military's got to back that up. So, good job, Americans, you voted for that. Because the South lost the war. If the South had won the war, we would be in the Confederacy currently, and we would have a completely different independent government. And the idea was that each state was supposed to be independent. The Confederacy was just supposed to be like this thing for warfare purposes, to defend themselves. Oh, and they also wanted to have like treaties with and trade with other countries. And that gets me to my next and final opinion that I want to talk about. Why is it a wrong thing to be like, oh, hey, yeah, we have this culture here, and I lived here, and my father lived here, and my grandfather lived here, and we've been farmers, and we've been farming this land, or my family's been cops as long as I can remember, or my family's been seamen as long as I can remember, and then these people live together and they have a culture, right? Cultures exist and people celebrate them and they love them. Like Paris, France has its own unique culture, and people travel from all over the world just to experience it. They want to experience the cuisine, right? For example, and the sights, the architecture. And then you've got other places that has a completely different culture, like Dubai, the city, London, and then you get New York. New York and LA, two completely different cultures, right? Two completely different types of cities, even though they're both compact, lots of people. They've got different cultures. New Orleans, go to New Orleans. It's got its own, it's dying, but it does have a little bit left of this Creole French culture. What's wrong with that? Why do we have to snuff out every single culture on planet Earth until we're all the freaking same thing? Why would that be exciting? Why would that be fun if we just got rid of everybody's culture and everybody's what are we're gonna actively work towards making everybody the same? Like ants in an ant colony? We're all just the same? Why can't we and this is apparently an illegal opinion, why can't we celebrate our differences? Why can't we talk about how we're different and how that makes us varied and special, and we have so many options available to solve so many problems because certain cultures and certain people are good at certain things. But if we destroy all these cultures, then we're all supposed to just score the same on tests. I don't know how you build a society off of that. I mean, you could build a ghetto. I don't know how you build a modern working society off of everybody we're all just the same. Then what's the incentive to work hard? Why work hard? We're all just the same anyway. Oh, if I work hard, I'm gonna have I'm going to have the same outcome. If I work less, I'll still have the same outcome. So why work hard? You know, the America that I grew up in was a completely different America. I was a Boy Scout. I was taught civic nationalism. I was taught to do your duty for your country. That you don't ask your country to do stuff for you. You ask, what can I do to help my country? That's what I grew up being taught by my parents, by my school in Alabama. I grew up in Alabama, right? And we grew up right after the race riots, and the civil rights movement had just passed. Martin Luther King Jr. had just happened. It was this church with these little girls got bombed. It was in the middle of like some serious racial hatred in America, and I grew up right there in the middle of that. And so what they did to get rid of the racial hatreds and to get rid of the fighting was they taught the children, me, civil rights. We are all the same, despite our skin color difference. We're both just the same, right? But we were also allowed to like notice differences. It was okay. This was during a time period when like they were making a movie like White Man Can't Jump. You know, it was okay to acknowledge that like, oh well, yeah, white people are like less good at dunking a basketball. Like that wasn't considered taboo or bad to mention or to notice. And despite this, we were taught that we were the same. Essentially, that we're all human beings. And it worked. It worked. It worked. The crime in the whole metropolitan area and all that stuff, that there was no more like KKK marches. That's all stopped and went away, and there was no more bombings and shootings and fighting for racial whatever on both sides. It all calmed down, and the 1990s were actually really peaceful racially, and I'm pretty sure if you look through the empirical data, it's gonna back that up. Like the late 1990s especially, there was like a racial calm. Nobody cared about skin color. Nobody cared. And then now it's all roaring back. It's all coming back with a fever or a fervor. It's coming back with a fervor. Now we're telling our kids to see color, to judge people by their color, to judge people by their race. I don't know how that's going to turn out well. I don't know how that's going to turn out good. I don't know how that's going to be a good thing in the long term. Because then you're going to have a society of people that rank people in society according to the color of their skin. And that's kind of sort of what they do in South Africa. It's called like apartheid. And it's really bad. They segregate people and they have different laws for different colored people. So be careful, America, what you're asking for. If you are intentionally asking to bring back the white only and the black only bathrooms, just know that makes you the bad guys, right? That makes you the baddies. You're segregating people according to race. Isn't that what the Germans did?